probably been told 1,000 times that walking more is the ultimate secret to staying healthy, keeping your heart strong, and maintaining your independence after 50. But what if I told you that the very routine you do every single morning could be silently grinding down your knee cartilage, step by step? Millions of well-intentioned adults wake up, lace up their sneakers, and hit the pavement, completely unaware that their daily walking form is actually doing more harm than good. Standard health advice always tells us to just get out there and hit our daily step goals, but it completely ignores how a faulty walking pattern can turn a healthy habit into a fast track towards severe joint degeneration and chronic pain. Hello, I am Sophia, and welcome back to Dr. Sophia. In my years of clinical observation, I have seen far too many patients suffer from debilitating knee issues, not because they are inactive, but because they are walking incorrectly. The World Health Organization and the National Institute on Aging rightly emphasize that physical activity is essential for older adults to maintain mobility and strength. Walking is universally recommended as a safe, low-impact exercise. However, there is a massive catch that the mainstream medical system rarely explains. If your walking mechanics are flawed, every single step you take acts like a tiny hammer chipping away at your joint surface. Your knees are not just simple hinges. They are your body's primary shock absorbers. They rely on a precise structural alignment between your hips, knees, and ankles to distribute your body weight evenly. When this alignment fails because of specific walking errors, the protective cartilage cushions take a brutal, uneven beating. You do not need expensive treatments or immediate surgical interventions to protect yourself. What you actually need is to understand the exact internal signals your body is sending and stop mismanaging the physical load on your joints. Today, we are going to expose the 5 critical walking mistakes that are destroying your knees after 50. Dive into the biomechanics of why they cause damage and give you a practical protocol to fix them. Let's ensure your daily walk is healing your body, not breaking it down. To truly understand how walking can either protect or destroy your joints, we need to look at what happens inside your legs every time your foot touches the ground. Think of your lower body as a highly sophisticated, shock-absorbing system, very much like the suspension on a car. When you take a step, your body weight drops down, and a physical force travels from the ground up through your foot. In a perfectly healthy system, your ankle, your knee, and your hip all bend and straighten slightly in a highly controlled manner. This synchronized movement allows your large thigh muscles, the quadriceps, and your buttock muscles, the glutes, to act as the primary brakes. They catch your weight, absorb the shock, and distribute the pressure evenly across the entire joint. However, after the age of 50, this natural protective mechanism begins to face major structural challenges. Over decades of life, the smooth, slippery cartilage that lines your knee joint naturally thins out and loses some of its elasticity. But here is the critical piece that medical studies have revealed. Individuals with joint degeneration display highly abnormal ground reaction force patterns compared to those with healthy knees. This means the internal shock absorbers are already compromised. To make matters worse, researchers found that these hazardous force patterns become significantly more pronounced and damaging the faster you walk. Another hidden danger lies in what biomechanics experts call the knee adduction moment, which is basically the twisting force that pushes your knee outward or causes it to buckle inward. In a degrading joint, this twisting force and its corresponding lever arm are substantially larger. Any slight mistake in your walking form that misaligns your hip, knee, ankle axis, or increases that mechanical lever, forces your delicate joint cartilage, your ligaments, your patellar tendon, and the surrounding muscles to bear a heavy, highly destructive physical load. Instead of the force being safely absorbed by your powerful muscles, it bypasses them completely and slams directly into your raw joint surfaces. It is not a matter of your body being fundamentally weak or broken. It is simply a matter of physics. When you repeatedly send the wrong mechanical signals and force your joints to absorb a load they were never designed to handle, degeneration accelerates dramatically. Now that you understand the true mechanical nature of your knees, let's look at the very first mistake that turns your morning walk into a joint-crushing habit. The very first walking mistake that is silently destroying your joints is what I call the locked knee strike. Think about your typical morning walk. You are focusing on your posture, trying to walk upright, and with every step, you throw your leg forward, forcing it into a perfectly straight line, just as your heel strikes the pavement. You might believe that straightening your leg completely is the most efficient way to move, or that it helps stretch out your lower body. But this is a dangerous misunderstanding. When you force your leg to stay completely rigid at the moment of landing, you are falling into a trap. You think a straight leg gives you structural stability, but in reality, you are completely bypassing your body's natural shock absorbers. Biomechanically, your lower body is designed to safely absorb the heavy impact of walking only when your ankle, knee, and hip perform a subtle, controlled bending and extending motion together. If your knee is locked straight at the exact phase where your foot meets the ground, the mechanical range of motion for your thigh muscles and your buttock muscles to actively break that landing force is drastically reduced. Because these powerful muscle groups cannot do their job, the heavy landing force cannot be distributed evenly. Instead, the entire physical shock concentrates heavily and directly onto the sensitive surface of your joint cartilage. Over time, this rigid impact forces your ankles and feet to work overtime and overcompensate for the stiff knee joint above them, creating a destructive chain reaction up your entire leg. Let's do a quick 3-second interactive check right now. Think about the last time you walked on a hard surface or inside a quiet room. Do your feet make a loud, distinct stomping sound when you walk? Do you feel a harsh, jarring vibration rattling straight up your shin bone into your thigh? If you notice a loud impact, or if you frequently experience a dull ache or discomfort at the front of your knee, particularly when walking down hills, slopes, or descending stairs, you are almost certainly locking your knees straight. To fix this immediately, we need to implement a simple protocol called the soft knee method. The condition for this method to work safely is that you must not overflex your knees into a deep crouch, which can put unnecessary strain on your kneecap. Instead, your goal is to maintain a microscopic softness in your joint. When you step forward, imagine your knee is slightly relaxed and springy, never snapping into a hard, rigid line. Let your foot touch the ground softly, and focus on moving your entire torso forward over your foot, rather than aggressively throwing your lower leg far out in front of your body. Remember this rule: your body adapts to what repeats. Do not harden the joint, soften the step. However, if you attempt to adjust your stride and experience a sharp catching pain, or if your knee feels completely unstable and threatens to give way, this is a clear red light safety warning. Do not try to push through it at home. Seek a professional medical evaluation to check for underlying structural issues. For everyone else, keeping your knees soft is your first line of defense against premature cartilage wear. The second critical mistake that is destroying your joints after 50 is a habit most people pick up when they try to speed up their walking: overstriding. Imagine you are out for your daily walk, and you decide you want to get a better cardiovascular workout. Your natural instinct is to reach out and take the longest steps possible, stretching your legs far out in front of you. You might believe that a longer stride is a sign of an athletic walk, or that it is helping you cover ground more efficiently. But this is a massive structural trap. When you force a long stride, you are using a false friend. Reaching far forward with your feet to increase your speed actually acts as a massive brake on your body. Biomechanically, overstriding places your foot too far ahead of your body's true center of gravity. Instead of smoothly transitioning your weight, you create an extended braking phase that forces a heavy impact directly into your heel. Research in joint mechanics shows that this specific error drastically increases what experts call the knee adduction moment and the frontal plane lever arm. In plain English, it creates an intense, unnatural twisting pressure that completely disrupts the alignment of your hip, knee, and ankle axis. This twisting force opens up a dangerous leverage gap, forcing your knee joint to buckle under your own body weight and crushing your delicate joint cartilage. Let's perform a quick interactive check right now. Take a close look at the shoes you wear most often for walking. Are the back outer edges of the heels worn down significantly more than the rest of the sole? Furthermore, when you are walking, do you feel a distinct jerking sensation or a sudden hitch in your torso every time your heel strikes the pavement? If your upper body feels like it is constantly getting held back by your own feet, you are definitely overstriding. To reverse this damage, we need to implement a protocol called the Cadence Shift Reset. The condition for this technique to work is that you must not try to walk slower to fix your stride. Instead, you keep your speed by modifying your rhythm. I want you to intentionally shorten your stride by just a few inches, ensuring that your foot lands much closer to your body. To maintain your walking speed, simply increase your step frequency, your cadence, at a moderate, comfortable rhythm. This ensures you get the exact same cardiovascular benefits, but you entirely eliminate the destructive twisting forces on your cartilage. Remember this: do not reach forward with your feet. Roll forward with your body. Keep your stride natural and fluid. If you try shortening your steps and experience any sharp pinching or cramping in your calves, take a brief rest and ease into the rhythm more gently. Forcing a rigid, robotic step can cause temporary muscle strain, so focus on smooth coordination. By bringing your foot back under your body, you take the heavy lever load off your joints. The third critical walk-in mistake that is silently destroying your knees after 50 is jumping straight into a fast, brisk pace the moment you step out of your front door. Imagine it is a beautiful morning. You feel energetic and you want to maximize your time. You step outside and immediately start power walking at your top speed to get your heart rate up right away. You probably believe that walking is so low impact that the walk itself serves as your warm-up, and that pushing your speed from the very first second is the best way to burn fat and build stamina. But from a medical standpoint, this is a dangerous error. When you force a fast pace on a cold joint, you are using a false friend. You think you are being efficient, but you are actually subjecting your knee cartilage to sudden, excessive mechanical friction. Let's look at what the latest science tells us. A major clinical study conducted in 2017 on individuals with knee joint degeneration revealed that their ground reaction forces, the heavy impact force that shoots up from the pavement through your leg, are already highly abnormal compared to healthy individuals. More importantly, the researchers discovered that these destructive force abnormalities become significantly worse and more chaotic the faster a person walks. When you have been resting or sitting inside, the natural lubricating fluid inside your joints, known scientifically as synovial fluid, is thick, cold, and stagnant. Your knee cartilage behaves almost like a dry sponge. If you suddenly force that unlubricated joint into a high-speed walk, you are generating severe friction on a thinned cartilage surface that is completely unprepared to distribute that accelerated load. This causes micro tears in the tissue and accelerates joint wear. Let's do a quick interactive check right now. Think about how your lower body feels during the first 5 to 10 minutes of your morning routine. Do your knees feel stiff, tight, or heavy when you first start moving? Do you hear noticeable cracking, clicking, or grinding sounds that gradually fade away after you have been moving for a while? If your joints feel dry or stiff initially, but then morph into a deep, throbbing ache later in the evening, you are forcing a cold joint into a high-velocity overload. To eliminate this structural stress, we must establish a simple protocol called the slow start rule. The absolute condition for this rule to protect you is that you must completely suppress your desire to rush. Before you enter your normal or brisk walking speed, you must spend exactly 3 to 5 minutes walking at a deliberately slow, casual, stroll-like pace. This gentle movement serves a vital physiological purpose. It acts like idling a car engine on a freezing winter morning. It signals your body to pump warm, thin, and slippery lubricating fluid across the entire joint capsule. This natural fluid coats and thickens your cartilage, preparing it to safely absorb the heavier ground reaction forces when you eventually speed up. Remember this core principle. Let the fluid flow before you let the speed grow. If you practice this slow start and still experience a sharp, hot pain that intensifies with every single step, this is a red light warning. Do not attempt to walk through the pain. Stop your walk, rest your legs, and seek a professional medical opinion to evaluate the joint for advanced inflammation. For the majority of adults, taking just 3 minutes to ease into your speed will instantly shield your cartilage from high-impact damage. The fourth critical mistake that is destroying your knees after 50 is wearing walking shoes that are completely worn out or structurally unstable. Think about your favorite pair of walking sneakers. They are probably the ones you have owned for years, the ones that feel incredibly soft because they have completely molded to the unique shape of your feet. You likely believe that because a shoe feels ultra comfortable, pillowy, and broken in, it must be the safest and most protective option for your aging joints. But this is a dangerous misunderstanding. An overly soft or worn-out shoe is a classic false friend. It feels comfortable on the skin, but it is silently sabotaging your joint health from the ground up. Let's look at the physics of what happens through your kinetic chain, the interconnected system of joints in your lower body. Your foot and ankle form the absolute foundation of your stance. When the midsole foam of a shoe collapses, compresses over time, or wears down unevenly on one side, your heel loses its upright position. This collapse destroys your ability to control your foot and ankle. As your ankle rolls inward or tilts outward excessively, that movement forces your lower leg bone to twist abnormally. Because of the kinetic chain, that structural twist shoots directly upward, throwing your hip, knee, ankle axis completely out of alignment and causing pressure to skyrocket on your joint cartilage. Let's do a quick interactive check right now to evaluate your footwear. Take your current walking shoes and place them on a completely flat table at eye level. Look at them closely from behind. Does the fabric or the rubber heel counter tilt or lean visibly to the left or right? Next, pick up the shoe, grab the front with one hand and the heel with the other, and try to twist it. Does it twist easily, almost like a wet towel? If the heel tilts or the sole twists with zero resistance, your shoes are structurally dead and are actively funneling destructive forces straight into your knees. To correct this foundation, we must implement the Secure Footing Protocol, which aligns perfectly with official safety guidelines. The National Institute on Aging explicitly advises older adults to choose sturdy shoes with excellent traction that provide stable, secure footing, customized to your specific walking environment. For adults after 50, a proper shoe should offer a firm, stable base rather than a flimsy, ultra-malleable structure. You should replace your footwear early, the exact moment you notice uneven tread wear, a deflated cushion, or if your knees feel noticeably heavier or more fatigued after a routine walk. Remember this rule: protect the foundation to preserve the joint. Never compromise on stability for the sake of artificial softness. However, as a crucial safety warning, if you suffer from severe structural issues like advanced flat feet, balance disorders, or diabetic neuropathy, do not rely on standard retail shoes alone. You should consult a medical specialist for custom supportive inserts. For everyone else, Investing in a stable, structured shoe is the simplest way to instantly offload harmful pressure from your knees. The fifth and final critical mistake that is destroying your knees after 50 is a heavy, unmitigated landing combined with a complete lack of control in your thigh and buttock muscles. Think about your daily walk. You are moving down the sidewalk, and you notice that your feet slap heavily against the pavement with every single step. Or maybe you notice that your hips rock dramatically from side to side as you move. You might believe that letting your body weight drop heavily or letting your hips swing freely means you are walking in a relaxed, natural manner, letting gravity do all the work for you. But from a structural perspective, this is a dangerous error. Walking with relaxed, inactive, stabilizing muscles is a destructive, false friend. You think you are saving energy, but you are actually stripping away your joint's primary defense system. Both the World Health Organization and the National Institute on Aging heavily emphasize the vital role of strength training for older adults, because muscle weakness directly destroys your ability to control your body's structural axis and safely absorb shock. When your large thigh muscles, the quadriceps, and your dominant buttock muscles, the glutes, are weak or completely unengaged during movement, they fail to maintain the structural alignment of your leg. Every single time your foot slaps the ground, instead of your leg remaining straight and stable, your knee collapses or buckles inward. Biomechanically, this caving motion places a hostile, uneven physical load across your joint cartilage, your ligaments, and your patellar tendon. It causes one side of your lower body to fatigue prematurely and triggers a rapid increase in joint pain after walking even a very short distance. Let's do a quick 5-second interactive check right now to see if your muscles are properly engaged. Stand up wherever you are, place your hands on your hips, and take a slow step forward as if you are walking. Watch your kneecap closely. As your foot hits the floor, does your kneecap point directly straight ahead over your second toe, or does it plunge inward toward your opposite leg? Do you hear a loud, heavy thud when your foot lands? If your knee dives inward or your body weight slaps down heavily, your primary shock-absorbing muscles are completely turned off. To instantly activate these defensive structures, we must implement a routine called the Active Alignment Protocol. The strict condition for this protocol to protect you is that you must never force your legs outward into an exaggerated, bow-legged position, which can strain your outer ligaments. Instead, before you begin your walk, intentionally engage your core and gently squeeze your glutes, your buttock muscles. As you take a step, focus on landing lightly and quietly, allowing your hip and thigh muscles to catch your weight. Actively ensure that your kneecap tracks in a perfectly straight line directly over your shoelaces. This simple engagement turns your muscles into a protective shield, absorbing the ground impact before it can ever touch your cartilage. Remember this rule. You do not need to work harder. You need to send the right muscle signal. Do not silence the warning signs your body gives you. If you attempt to stabilize your knees but experience a sharp, hot, burning sensation directly under your kneecap, or if you feel a severe grinding that does not resolve, this is a red light warning. Stop the activity and consult your physician to check for severe cartilage wear. For the majority of adults, learning to land quietly and keeping your knees aligned over your toes will completely change how your joints feel after a walk. To wrap all of this together and give your joints the ultimate layer of protection, you need a structured daily plan before you take a single step outside. Instead of trying random tips, I want you to adopt a simple pre-walk routine called the 5-step indoor reset. You should perform this routine right inside your living room before you open your front door. First, march gently in place for 60 to 90 seconds to wake up your circulatory system. Second, perform 10 to 15 ankle pumps on each side, flexing your feet up and down to get the lower leg muscles moving. Third, perform 8 to 10 small range knee bends, gently extending and flexing your legs without snapping the joint. Fourth, Complete 5 to 8 chair sit-to-stands or 10 firm glute squeezes to instantly activate your hip stabilizers. Finally, once you step outside, walk at a deliberately slow pace for 2 to 3 minutes before transitioning into your normal walking speed. When it comes to the proper dosage of walking, long-term health guidelines from the World Health Organization and the National Institute on Aging recommend aiming for 150 to 300 minutes of moderate physical activity per week, paired with at least 2 days of strength training and balance work. However, if you are currently dealing with knee pain, are overweight, or are returning from a long period of inactivity, you must never force yourself to complete 30 minutes of continuous walking right away. The safe way to build your stamina is to walk entirely below your pain threshold, using short, manageable intervals throughout the day. A successful walking session should leave your lower body feeling lighter, smoother, and fully energized. Your joints should never punish you the next morning with severe swelling, stiffness, or increased pain. Remember this core truth. Your knee discomfort is not an enemy. It is a messenger signaling that your physical load, your preparation, or your mechanics need a gentle adjustment. Listen to your body and stop trying to silence the alarm. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. Leave a comment below and tell me, how old are you? And what level of the protocol are you starting with today? Sharing your experience helps us build a stronger community. Now, fixing your mechanics and adopting a proper warm-up routine is the vital first step to stopping joint wear. But what if you could actively nourish, cushion, and support the biological recovery of your cartilage from the inside out, using a remarkably affordable option? In my very next video, I am going to expose a highly effective strategy that I call the $2 remedy that rebuilds knee cartilage, something most mainstream doctors simply do not have the time to explain in a busy clinic. Click on the screen right now to uncover this hidden solution, and I will see you there.